ShopDog says, welcome back to what is probably the final fit video. Kolai has decided to go ahead and sell it to a friend. So, like a good human, she's giving it a once over and making sure everything's good and taking care of the little things she already knows are problems, because that's what friends do for each other. Okay, so we're just doing an initial look over. You know, we noted that the valve cover, it weeps a little bit. We saw some evidence of mice, so we were checking to make sure there were no mice anywhere. She had just changed the air cleaner, so we're good there. We're letting things cool down. Got the fan running to cool things down. Threw the battery charger on her because we got the scanner going through just looking for codes. And I'm doing the full scan, which on a Honda takes forever. So we're letting that run and just kind of giving things a once over right now. So you can see every light in the world is on because the engine isn't running. So we'll check tires and kind of go over everything. We've already checked the oil, had a little bit extra fuel in it, but considering the car's been sitting for a while and she had to be jumped to get her started, I don't see that as a giant problem. But you can see everything's looking pretty dry. Everything's good. We just did this axle back here a couple years ago, so that should be good for a while. So we're just kind of checking things out. Ran a report, and basically it comes down to the upstream AFR sensor is slow response and an ABS problem with the left rear wheel speed sensor. So we're hoping we actually got that plugged back in well when we were working in the back, because that happens. But when this is up in the air later, I want to look at the wiring, because there's obviously been a mouse. You know, there's turds. So I want to verify that the wiring is good. Although it's not no response. So if it is chewed, it's not chewed all the way through, but I want to look at it before we condemn that sensor, just to verify what's what here. You like to know. I don't know if we're changing that or if that's going to be a, hey, this is going to come up and you may have to change it kind of thing. I don't believe they're terribly expensive on these cars. So it's a pretty common AFR. Just unplugged these guys, didn't get burned. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a coil out and take a look and see how she looks. Okay, we've got them all out. So the serpentine side is over here. Bell housing side is over here. So we've got all those out. They're looking consistent enough that I'm not too worried that we're going to have a bad ring or a bad seal or anything like that. And remembering, there's been a fine running engine. Nothing really wrong with the engine. So pretty easy to work in there. You've got really, really good access. Plugs just went in, and I'm a big fan of the CRC dielectric grease. Throw a little in here, keep the moisture out. We'll actually also throw just a little bit in the connector, keep the moisture out. It's not going to hurt anything. And that wasn't very difficult. It's pretty good access back here for these. Only needed a wobble for the far one. But you can see we now have our new coils and spark plugs. So that should last the life of this vehicle, honestly. So the next thing we're going to do is kind of go through, check all our fluids, make sure everything's kosher. That little tranny guy down there is fun to get at, so that's next. Well, she said the brake felt funny, and she's not wrong, just since it's been sitting here. So it appears that this Zerk is actually, or this bleeder is actually what's leaking. We're going to strip this wheel. If the wheel cylinder still looks fine, we're not going to replace it, but, well, we may have to anyway. Sometimes these guys don't come out, but hopefully I have that size. If I don't, well, it is what it is. So we'll take a look at that here in just a minute. Luckily, I have a nice pinch point here so we can minimize loss. But yeah, we're definitely picking her up now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this pulled and see if the wheel cylinder itself is leaking or if it's just that bleeder. I hope it's just the bleeder, but you know, if we got to get one, we got to get one. Obviously, it's Minnesota, so we had to scrape the corrosion around the hub and then take a rethreader, clean out the push holes, drive some new bolts in it, get it under tension, smack it a few times with the hammer, and now you can see she's coming free. So now it'll come off But patience. If you start beating the crap out of this, it's just cast iron. It will shatter. Just got done bleeding the rears. Just got that tire back on. Getting ready to do this one. But yeah, we just pulled that Zerk and actually cleaned it up. Cleaned up inside the cylinder. It did look like there might have been some contamination. And yeah, she's holding up good. So we bled her. We're happy. Put wheels on. I like it when it's no parts required. I want to check out some wheel bearings. Make sure everything's good here. And then we'll check ball joints. Also check and make sure there's no play in the steering linkage. You know, you don't want to do that to somebody. At this point, we've done the minor tune-up. We've checked all the fluids. We've refilled the brake fluid. We re-bled the rears and fixed the leaking bleeder. At this point, there's really no real issues that we're expecting the car to have. I just remembered to get this little guy, because every time I lose one of these, that's $400. So I think at this point she's going to start it, and we're going to make sure everything's good. The next owner may be responsible for changing this O2 sensor. I didn't see anything wrong. Well, it's AFR, but couldn't see any wiring issues with it. So, you know, it could just be getting old. It happens. So we'll get back to you in just a minute. Okay, the car has brakes. You know, it's definitely working. It's idling really nice. It started right up, which I guess I should have put on camera, but you know, you always worry. I think for what this car is, I think it's running great. Dog's a little sad because this will be most likely the last video on the Fit. You know, we'll see if Skinny retains our services in the future or not. But, yeah, this has been a good little car. I don't know if everybody knows the story, but this was a little salvage rescue car that was supposed to just last a year. And, boy, what did that last? Like 7 or 8 years? Yeah, this has been a really, really good little rescue car. So, thanks for watching.